There we go. And thanks for scheduling the
Mhm.
podcast. Alexandra, Sasha, I just want to take your both names. Well, you told me Sasha is a short name for Alexandra, right?
Mhm. Yeah, correct, correct.
Cool. And so today we have a very interesting guest. You're also part of a Women in Tech chapter as well, right?
Yeah, correct.
And you've had a great journey when I look at your career, and I think a lot of people can really benefit from that.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I want to dive into a lot of your 10 years of experience when it comes to marketing, as well as how did you transition into that
Hmm.
journey itself, but also the women in tech, something that we can talk about, how there are plenty of people out there and mostly women who
Hmm.
want to get into tech and so forth. But before we do, we have Alexandra Gorpatanko joining us from Serbia. And
Yeah.
so a quick introduction about yourself, Sasha, if you would.
Yeah, so I know that based on my experience, there is many things that I been doing in my career. I usually introduce myself as a marketer, basically in IT industry. That's what I've been doing since 2011, if to look at my career. And I also drive diversity and inclusion initiatives within the companies I work for. And just like you have mentioned, I'm a part of Women in Tech chapter. I'm also a platinum tier facilitator of a program that was launched by Google called I Am Remarkable. And I've recently even went to London for the awards because I was selected as a finalist of this movement, and it was like really amazing experience to me. So I trained more than 600 people so far, and yeah, I teach people how to acknowledge their achievements within the career because as we all know between men and women do struggle with acknowledging their achievements within the workplace, and I'm not an exception. I have the same issues. I have had them, and I'm doing a bit better now, I hope so. At least based on my profile in LinkedIn, I think
No,
so. Yeah.
this is why, if you remember our conversation was like, hey, there's a lot of stuff that we can.
Yeah, cover, yeah.
It's what I try to achieve, Sasha, is like there's not one story fits all. There are many
Mhm.
stories fit everyone. And I
Right.
think that's really important to bring forefront. And so that's
Mhm.
what I try to achieve with the podcast and I guess like
Right.
yourself. So before, I guess the best, easiest way would be is today you are a global marketing manager,
Yep.
or how do I pronounce this company? Acronis.
Acronis, yeah, correct.
Acronis, right. And so you've been there for almost 3 years, which is
Yeah, almost 3 years.
fantastic.
Going to be celebrating in January. So,
Wow. So yeah, just a month
yeah.
shy.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's a global company and it's also in cyberspace. So before anything else, how did you get into this role? And how can anyone, because I know you also been a project manager.
Yeah.
You also went to Georgia Tech for that,
Hmm.
How did you transition your career to getting into marketing? And then I also want to talk about something that you mentioned in our pre-conversation, which was how did you move during the war? As well.
Hmm.
But before we go there, a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the first part of your question, I started my journey in IT in general in 2011, and I was recruited by a company called Vim Software. They are considered as a competitor of the company that I'm currently employed with, and they have similar solution. I mean, just like everywhere in the market, we'll have competitors. And I did start my career at Vim Software as a alliance project associate because I had zero background in IT. And my degree is in journalism, so it's totally opposite. And also, this is a very cool thing that I usually share with people who struggle and who think that when they want to pursue their career in IT, and if their focus is in like arts or journalism, like myself, they are afraid if they can even qualify for that. But you can always study, you can always learn something new, you can always develop your career. It depends on your will and it depends on how badly you want it. So I was hired to this company back in the days. I'm from Russia, St. Petersburg, born and raised, and I was recruited there because one of the key offices of that international company as well was located in St. Petersburg. And I've spent amazing 11 years over there. And I think I had four title changes within that career. And I started as a alliance associate, and then I continued with a project management role and ended up as a program manager. Basically, these were the projects that I overlooked that were happening in between technology alliances of the company. If to name the biggest alliances that I've been dealing with, those were HP, Dell EMC, they were VMware, some bigger players in the market, right? And Vim Software had a technological solutions in between these giants in the market. They had OEM solutions, and of course, there were different marketing programs associated with that. I cannot tell you that I was 100% dedicated to marketing, but those were a lot of marketing and alliance relationship programs. And this is how I started my marketing way, let's put it this way. Also, since I have told you that I have a degree in journalism,
Mhm.
I have always had some passion for writing. So once in a while, I completed some copywriting classes to see how I can be writing articles, not articles, but mainly posts for social media, because market has changed a lot
Yeah.
within the last 10 years when social media came into the game. And I started doing that as a hobby. And sometimes I did help to some local businesses. And this was really like my extra job. And this is how I learned marketing as well. But I never left the project management development as well. And as you have highlighted, I did go to Georgia Tech once to pursue the PMP certificate as a project manager, of course. So I do have some required skill set of a project manager. And I think if to combine these two experiences of a project manager and social media manager role, this is how we get into marketing closer. And my new role that I currently have, it is a global channel marketing program manager. So it has 5 words, if I count correctly, in it. So I do overlook marketing programs in between our company, and we're driving the partnership relationships. So basically, I cannot tell you that it's the same that I've been doing before within Vim software. It's a bit different because the focus of the business, the channel is different, because if it was um, alliance channel within the previous job, now it is mostly service providers. And I do build marketing programs and campaigns around our partnerships to increase the profitability of both businesses, of service providers of ours, and of course, Acronis. And I'm very happy to be with Acronis now, because this company, it does allow me to have a lot of extra activities. Like I mentioned before, I do run a lot of diversity programs, and I also try to pursue my acumen in this industry. And within Acronis, I overlook chapter leadership of Cyber Women program, which is really amazing because it helps women develop their career, develop their skills, and also opening some mentorship opportunities.
Oh,
It,
this
it, it
is
was it was not a short intro, I
no,
know.
no, 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 no. This was a pretty good one. This actually pretty interesting. Um, so you mentioned the cybersecurity program for women, right?
Yeah,
So I think you've been in this. Veeam Software was also, or is
yeah.
still is it an ID consulting company, or is it like, because I know they're a global company, but are they in cyber tech or they're like agnostic, everything?
They're mostly backup solution, Veeam
Okay.
software as well as Acronis. They do backup and security.
So what have you seen in this in
Mhm,
specific category or sector industry that are you seeing that many women coming into
mhm,
the program over the recent years you've been seeing a decline? The reason I'm asking that is because
mhm,
more and more, in my observation, I don't have any numbers to track, so this is
mhm,
my opinion. I've seen more women now jumping to software
mhm.
engineering,
Yeah.
which I really am like, finally, we need to have that kind of different mindsets because,
Mhm,
you need that. And also, why not? Um, are you seeing a decline in cybersecurity? Because I remember there was a time, and I could be wrong, we saw an influx of mostly women going into certain sectors or
mhm.
even certain roles.
Yeah.
Let me even say that. So marketing would be one, product design, product
Mhm,
management. Now it has climbed up a lot, which is I'm great to see that. But in cybersecurity, I saw that and then it pump down? Are you seeing the cybersecurity field, is it accessible
mhm,
enough for all
mhm,
women who are
mhm.
coming in? Like, what are some challenges that you're seeing, some trends? That's what I'm trying to get insight on as you're writing this chapter for
Yeah.
cybersecurity for women.
Sure. So, just in the beginning of our call, I said that women do have some issues with acknowledging their achievements, and I can even give you, if you're lacking some statistics, I can give you some examples from
Yeah,
Google.
yeah, that
Uh,
works.
so yeah, so they had a certain research. They have made like job postings, right? And usually when you go through Google job posting, you see there is like a lot of things, and you see like 100 duties that you're supposed to do, and you're like, am I even good for this role? I mean, like
Yeah,
I can fulfill all of these duties during all my life, not just
yeah.
within one workplace. So, and they had like for a certain job,
Mhm.
they had very limited amount of women applicants applying for this job. But once they reduced the number of words in this job posting, they
Hmm.
increased like the number, maybe it was like 10% of the women applicants, and then they increased it up to 30 and 40%, if I'm not mistaken, by only by reducing the number of words in the job posting.
Wait. I'll pause you here. So you're
Yeah,
saying they reduced the number of words in the job description that
yeah,
increased candidates, women
yeah,
candidates.
yeah,
Oh, wait,
yeah.
how did they understood that that would have an effect? Is it because it almost felt like too rigorous and why that? Like, I'm just curious.
Well, they're really great in their HR policies and development, of course, and they do have certain researches, and there's many of them. I think I can share some links with you after our podcast. But they did investigate on that subject, and also one of the why that program that's called I'm Remarkable appeared at Google, because they figured out that, and it was initially aimed for women, because women struggle way more, especially in the tech industry, which is absolutely male dominated still. And I can tell it also depends not just in the not just on the industry. It also depends on the location where you are at, right? I'm from Eastern Europe. It is still male-dominated industry, and apart from, I can give you an example. Okay, so at Veeam Software, the gender split was 50-50, and it's hard to believe, right, in a tech company.
Yeah.
But this has a very simple explanation, because Veeam is well known as a market machine and as a company, because they're crazy on their marketing and sales. They're very aggressive. Hence, we get 50% of women in this company, and mostly those who are, of course, sales and marketing roles. On the other side, we have Acronis, which is mostly 100% developers.
All right.
I think there is 26% of women. But in relation to that, I'm not sure if I can disclose this information, but I can tell you that they have a very good number of women leadership within the
Hmm.
company. So it also tells something. Not on technical roles, but we have chief sales officer who is a woman, and a certain number of VPs also women.
I would like to add one
Yeah,
thing,
sure.
Sasha, is I can attest that the companies even I have seen, worked
Mhm.
with,
Yeah.
um, they would highly double down, or I could be wrong. Look, I come from Pakistan, right? So for
Hmm.
me,
Hmm.
even though I've been here for almost now 11 years in accounting,
Yeah.
still there's some
Great.
things I don't understand. My sisters, they all worked like back home, and
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
they had their what do you call? They had their glass ceiling that they had to face.
Yeah.
And so I
Yes.
understand. So what I'm trying to say with that is like I've seen companies here as well that when it comes to non-technical roles, marketing and sales,
Hmm.
there is a bias
Yeah.
that they I don't know if that's good or bad, but like when it comes to engineering, I think they should be hiring anyone and women if they're there.
Hmm.
They should
Yeah.
definitely even go further to do more effort to get
Hmm.
them into
Yeah.
some more supportive, but I don't understand why does that really happen. And you're saying the same thing as well. Like, hey, I had this one company, yeah,
Yeah.
amazing, 50% efficient, but when you look at the sectors or the
Yeah.
category of jobs,
Mhm.
marketing sales is maybe 100% women.
Yeah.
Why? And then devs are all engineers are all men.
Hmm.
Wide disparity. Um, I have a question, follow-up question for that,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to add that. But when you complete your thought, I want you to add that question. Do you feel that um the whole thing for women or this kind of a glass ceiling or whatever you want to call it, shadow
Yeah.
ceiling,
Right. Right.
that women not in are not in developer jobs is maybe because the whole I don't know how to put this nicely so it
Mhm.
when it's published like you know when it's totally dominated by one gender so it looks a bit off uncomfortable space. Do you think
Mhm.
that could be one? I'm just again I'm thinking out loud. uh,
Yeah, I think that both of us, you and I, we belong to millennials, right?
yeah,
We're not Gen Z yet.
yeah,
So for the new generation, it's so much different.
okay,
And I think like it opens up something. For millennials, we are at the stage where we're moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And for us, yes, especially for me, for a woman from Eastern Europe, I was raised with the culture of mathematics is not for a girl.
oh wow.
Yeah, but you remember, like even in this recent series with Ann Taylor, yeah, Queen's Gambit, or
Yeah,
the
yes, 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 yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I saw
So
that.
like even she didn't feel like she's in the right path, right? I mean, like of course she was a bit different, but it also was male dominated because chess is mathematics basically. So I think something that's been raising through generations that mathematics is not for women, and like different countries have different history of education, right?
Hmm.
From where I am from, we have 300 years of education, of women education. In other countries, it might be worse. The
Yeah,
statistics is different, and also like mathematics was not for 100% for women.
yeah,
So I believe it takes certain generations till it changes. But also, if we
yeah.
speak just about developers, I have my evil plan. I believe that all of this coding might be replaced with AI very soon, and we will need totally different managers who will
Hmm.
be having really cool soft skills, because hard skills is not something that you can um, rely on in the next decade. Every developer now needs to get out
Yeah.
of their shell and learn some soft skills, because this is how they will be able to make their career. And I think this is the place where women can step in, because from my career, I see that women have way more developed soft skills. At least
Hmm.
they work hard on that, and they have their own history of advocating their interests, right? And I believe that the number will change very soon, especially if we're looking at Gen Z, and
Yeah.
that's just developing now, right? And I see we have a lot of young women joining the company, and they are very like they start as junior roles as testers mostly, or like
Yeah.
Q&A, but they can approach more complicated technological jobs.
This is very good. Like I agree with that. Like my own niece, she's
Mhm.
doing computer science. And when she
Mhm.
was going through and she was like, hey, what should I do? She already knew what she will do. But I was like, as much as I could advocate, I was like, just do computer science. Whatever you do, just do that. You can later shift to
Yeah.
business if you want to.
Mhm.
And with that being said, even like I've seen recently as well, I've had a Gen Z CEO, Iona. She's the CEO of Destico
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Dexico. And
Mhm.
and you know, she's doing a fantastic job. She's growing her company. It's already making great revenue. And so
Mhm.
I do feel what you're saying, there is something there that, but I don't agree that AI can replace everything, but AI will lower the gap. Like, so, you know, right now it's like
Yeah.
developers, and then you
Mhm.
have soft skill people.
Mhm.
If you want that engineer who can be a tester and
Mhm.
also like lower level nuance, then
Mhm.
definitely the side of the soft skill will actually meet the hard skill, and then you can get there.
Yeah.
Versus if you're a hard skill guy, you really need some proper coaching
Exactly.
to.
Yeah.
But I think that's a more tougher part. Versus the
Mhm.
soft skill, like I think they could be again. I could be biased in my perspective,
Mhm.
um, but I do feel like you're right and spot on that this will actually be something in the future for the next decade that we are entering in. Um, Going back to this whole thing which you were talking about, so they reduce, I don't want to miss that point. So they reduce the number of women, they reduce the number of text
Yeah.
in the job description, and
Yeah.
applicants increased by 40%. So what was the
Mhm.
reason? Do you know the reasoning behind that was involved or some findings or?
I'm not sure about the background story, but I think since this research is dated like 2016 or 17,
Mhm.
probably it was a time when it was important for a company to have more women, to hire more women. Because, you know, even if a company is going on IPO, right,
Yeah.
they have to have certain diversity, right?
Yeah.
Within their board of directors, within their VP club, and everything. So I believe it also relates to that. But you know, I remember at one of the events, it was like maybe 7 to 8 years ago. During my times with Veeam Software, we had a women in technology panel session within some offline events, maybe during partner summit or something like that. And we had certain partners in this panel. And one of the partners was coming from Denmark, from our partner. There were like three women and one man within that panel. And he was a representative of some cloud storage partner, something like that. And when people asked him, how do you hire people within your company? Like, do you focus on women, on men more? And he said, well, you know what? If I ever post in a job application in Denmark that I want to hire women for this role, I will be banned and there would be like a lawsuit against me. Because of not being inclusive, right? But he said, I would really love to hire more women, because I think he specified that like that they have 80% of men in their company. And he said, I would really love to hire more women, but they simply do not apply for this technical job. And I think that nowadays situation is changing. I mean, and I
Yeah.
can feel it and I can see it through the years. And also me working in very male dominated, very developer dominated company. I can list like several women, maybe like 10 to 20 women at least, who have very tough technology jobs within the company, and they're doing great.
Yeah, like
Of course, yeah. There
I
will always be some misjudgment of
yeah,
men. Of course, they might not take seriously because it also, comes from a culture, comes from fixed mindset of different generation. But I
yeah.
can tell you that younger developers, they have a totally different approach.
It's definitely a there look there is a vibe shift in the at least where I am in the country. There's a huge vibe shift, and people are like,
Yeah.
let's move forward, but like doesn't matter. You like my saying is this: you can be anybody as long
Yeah.
as you know what you're doing. I'm all in
Mhm.
because as a business owner, I want you to be have the skill set to help me go further,
Yeah.
right? And I think that what it comes down to, and I think well, I like what you're saying because I do believe that uh, you need, I think giving the access of knowledge, giving
Mhm.
the access for information
Right.
to everyone, regardless of
Mhm.
where you're from. And I think that reduces the barrier, right? Like,
Mhm.
here's how I will tell you. So, for example, if today I want to learn coding, it's very fairly easy for me to do that.
Yeah.
10 years ago or 2008, okay, that's very archaic. But
Yeah.
2008, when I was learning to code, it was challenging. I still had YouTube back then, but I had to learn the hard way. Um, these days with AI, specifically GPT, Cursor, all these IDE tools out there, it reduces the barrier. And I think any advocacy that you're doing that, hey, we need
Yeah.
more women to take it with an interest, that this is not a barrier, like you will grow,
Mhm.
is going to be great. And it's funny, some people may actually say that, oh, this is now already happening. There's a huge number.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you probably can back me up on this. I think largely people will be still surprised how many women still face barriers when they're
Mhm.
even in VC funding, startups, and
Yeah.
as well as around US is not the only market. There's Europe, there's Eastern Europe, there's my countries in the world, right? And
Mhm.
so there's still barriers. So we need more advocacy like that. Um, that being said, I want to move to another subject. So you have I really like I like talking about what you've been talking about. So you're doing the
Mhm.
diversity thing in your company, you get into marketing as well.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about you. You're in Women in Tech, right?
Yeah.
Right. So tell me more about that as a what that organization is, what
Mhm.
your role has been within their chapter.
Yeah.
Um, any some insights. Some insights was always great to have if you have. So yeah.
So, Women in Tech is a global organization. It is non-commercial, of course, and basically what it does map mentors and mentees across the globe. Every year, they call out, they make postings in their site and their social media. Hey guys, we're hiring, we're recruiting mentees and mentors, and there is many women applicants. And I think when I joined the program, oh, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there were maybe 200 people in the chat. I mean, I'm talking about the chapter for Eastern Europe,
Yeah.
Russian speaking. And there were maybe like 200 people. And now I think we can check. Okay, let me see what is the actual number
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this women. Okay, hold on. I
Yeah,
need
yeah,
to
no
figure
worries, no
this out.
worries. No, no, no. No, it's fine. And
Yeah.
because the
Okay,
only
so
reason, yeah, go ahead.
there is a chat and there is like 1,000 members, which are
Wow.
mentors. 1,000 mentors. And there is also usually one mentor gets three mentees.
Oh, wow. So
So there
that's
might be like 3 to 5,000 mentees as well. I mean, like it's an extreme growth. And I can give you like this example is very it gives us some understanding on how it expands, right?
Yeah.
Also, like Julia, that you had an interview with
Yes.
within that organization, I think it was her idea to make a startup hub that she leads now within this organization, and also she has like 600 participants in startups hub. Yeah, over 600 members,
Wow.
which is also like a super great result. And for this organization, basically, I do two things. I mentor people. I mentor people who are lacking some skills in project management and marketing, and also personal branding and all of this knowledge and achievements thing that I mentioned before, and self-promotion skills. And also, I run I Am Remarkable workshops within this organization. I think just now they've started a new set of, they've just had a new set of mentees hired, recruited. And I think I ran already 3 or 4 workshops for them. So
Well,
basically, these two major things, but I can tell you that I have never had a mentee over this program who was not technical.
oh wow.
Usually, they're testers, they work in QA,
That
and
is
they have way higher, way bigger technical background than I do because I have almost zero. And this is also an interesting experience to me that I can mentor people who have a decent technical background, right? And this is something that we've talked before, that they are lacking soft skills. But you see, they're not afraid. None of them ever told me anything that they feel pressured or they feel that they cannot compete with men within their roles. No, none of them. I mean, they're quite a decent managers, and they were all. I think that the eldest one was 25, maybe. So they're in between 20. So once they
yeah.
graduate, like usually we graduate in Eastern Europe when we're like 21, 22, and they start their careers, and then they need some guidance on how to approach a career, on where to go for work, and how to search for the jobs, for the proper jobs. And this is where I can help them. Of course, I cannot help them
Yeah.
with recommendations on what technical classes to attend, but I can always tell them who to ask, because I have a wide spectrum of connections within my LinkedIn and within my career, so I can always guide them through that too.
This is very nice. Like, oh yeah, I just want to make sure my mic was not mute. This is actually super cool. I think there's a huge value that I think anybody and every person, woman should take
Mhm.
use of this. I'm just surprised and awed, like, oh my God, this is just one chapter and so much help.
Yeah.
Um,
And this
wow.
is for free, absolutely. And this is really
There's no
amazing.
cost associated to it. It's like
No,
zero. Wow.
you get a mentor and you get it for free, and this is really amazing. So I also know that certain companies, also like VM Software or Acronis,
Yeah.
where I work at, they also have mentorship program for women.
Yeah.
And I once had a mentor too, who was a CEO of the company at that time.
Nice.
And yeah, I was like really blessed to have him, and he's amazing. And yeah, I did certain, I have certain outcomes of this mentorship because, when you work with a mentor as a mentee, it depends on you like
Yeah.
100%, because mentorship is about transferring the knowledge. It's
Hmm.
not about mentor entertaining you.
Yeah.
And it's also a matter of asking the right questions. So being a mentee with such a great mentor also contributes my career a
It's
lot. Yeah.
it's also like one thing, like when you are a mentee. So I've used to mentor a lot of folks over the past 2, 3 years, like a year before, and then
Yeah.
I stopped because I realized that I'm really getting tapped out. Like, look, I know what I'm good at, and I was realizing I can give value, but I don't know if I can do it at scale. And
Hmm.
so, but one thing when I was a mentee, and I still have multiple mentors, you wanna, and you've touched on this, is like it's on you as well. It's the onus is on you to be participative, but also be able to ask the right questions to get the pathway for some
Mhm.
answers. You
Yeah.
know, this is great. Wow. So, and how can anybody participate? Do they just go to Women in Tech website or?
Yeah, I think the website is womenintech.org,
Oh, okay.
and they just apply because they
Hmm.
are looking for mentor. And they just need to be mindful on when they have the call for the new recruits. So
Oh, wow. This
usually
is,
once a year. It might be dependable on different locations, and also I believe that even like for CIS region, also they might have certain waves when they call out for mentees, and it also depends on the number of mentors available. But also, I have a feeling that because this is what I do, that if you need to boost some skills and if you
yeah,
can look for the right person yourself, nobody will ever tell you no. If you look for someone in LinkedIn, I mean, like you have no idea. Like I'm getting approached by many people, but they're very driven by their careers. And if they
yeah,
see what they like within my page, within any of my social media, within my career track, and they can always ask me, hey, can you help me? Also, even within this I'm Remarkable workshops, usually I have a few like 2 to 3 people after every workshop. Every workshop is about 20 people. And like 10% of participants would usually reach out to me asking, hey, can you please provide me with some guidance? And I also do that for free. Of course, nobody ever tried to take advantage of me of like having multiple sessions,
yeah,
but I would be happily to do several of them if I would see like really good results, because this is something that's complementing my job and all of my development, that I can help some people. And the biggest reward to me is when they reach out to me, like sometimes 6 months after, sometimes a year after we had a mentorship session, and say, you know what, I aced in this topic,
yeah,
and I kind of got a pay raise, or I'm a manager now, and this is really rewarding to me, and I really like what I do. And I mean, if I ever needed someone to guide me through something, I mean, I can always reach out to different people saying, hey, can you please explain this to me? And
yeah,
sometimes I do reach out to people, and to some of them I even pay, even if they don't ask me to pay them. I mean, like I would, if I know that they accept
yeah, yeah.
payments, they make some consultancy business, and of course it depends.
Yeah, yeah,
But
no, no. This
mhm.
this is I like what you're saying. I think knowledge sharing should not be behind a gated wall. I'm on the other end. I don't like when people gate knowledge behind a
Mhm.
paywall. Like, come on, it's,
Yeah.
it's, people should have access to this. This is great. But I know we're getting towards the end mark,
Mhm.
and I just realized that,
Yeah.
like, geez, that was
Sure.
fast. So we covered how you got into marketing. You did mention, how you leverage project management. You did shed some light over there, and
Yeah.
then we triple down on women in tech.
Mhm.
Since it's point to the closing, I want to know one thing is like from a career aspect,
Yeah.
doesn't matter who you are, what you are, right? Is like if you're pivoting into marketing, what would you say are, man, these are the few things if you want to get into marketing, right? You're a product manager, you're an engineer, whatever
Mhm.
you want to transition to product marketing,
Yeah.
marketing manager or product marketing. This is what you should know. Do you have any
Mhm.
suggestions or advice on that before we close of the like
Yeah.
towards the end of the month? Because yeah.
Sure. I think that the key soft skill that that one needs to have if they want to approach their career in marketing is to be very curious and to follow trends. It might sound very stupid, but I do spend some time on TikTok almost every day.
Mhm.
Of course, it's an algorithm, but I get so much inspiration in it, and I see what trends are. And TikTok is something that usually gives you a very big image of the audience. everywhere, and you see the trends, and you see what is the next big thing, right? And TikTok knows it knows it before everybody else. So I cannot tell you if there is a very decent education on that. Of course, it depends because marketing is very big, right? And it depends on what track you want to pursue, whether it's like, I don't know, Google AdWords, whether you want to work mostly with targeting, whether you want to elaborate something creative and or work for Netflix and make their branding, right?
Yeah.
Because as you have mentioned, it's also like connected with design, with everything, and it also depends on your both hard and soft skills on whatever you like the most. And just being curious and being able to read news on what's happening global environment, right? Because like
Hmm.
even at MBA where I
Yeah.
study, our teachers, our professors tell us, do you know what's the key job of a CEO of a very large company, right? They start every day with reading a newspaper and they see
Hmm.
the market trends. Also, I remembered one cool thing that former president and founder of Vim Software says that best product never wins.
Hmm.
And he shares the story 100 times, and I think you can even find it somewhere on YouTube. And
Huh.
then he tells a story that someone told him this gave this piece of advice to him, and he was like, should I now make my product not really good one? Should I break it? Should I
Yeah.
make some issue in the code, or what does it even
Yeah.
mean? Then I figured that best marketing does, and it's not about non-beautifying your product or breaking the code. It's basically because of the marketing. And this is something that also developers, not all developers understand,
Hmm.
that you can make a very nice product. But if it doesn't have proper marketing and if there are no people who know how to sell it, I mean, it doesn't,
Oh,
cost anything. So,
that's a very interesting thought. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I do believe like I think there is a huge marketing effect that has
Mhm.
like and it does it create awareness, and it's the message that you want to relate to, right? That's what there's a huge billions of dollars spent every year. Like you can even look at those um football ads, like Super Bowl ads. They for a few seconds, Sasha, they go for like $5-6 million. So
Yeah,
I
right.
do like there's a reason for that.
Mhm.
I I know we didn't cover one thing because we entered the
Mhm.
point, but like I had a question about fighting imposter syndrome, and then I just realized I
Mhm.
missed that. If you can talk a little bit about it, and then we can, yeah, like or even something that I can
Mhm.
have a takeaway for people.
Yeah. Sure. So, imposter syndrome also became a very popular topic within last 5 years, I might say,
Hmm.
because people started losing confidence in many aspects, and I think that COVID contributed to that a lot because people went back home, they started working, and they didn't know how to prove that they were something, right? And their managers do not have any interaction with them anymore. They do not see them at everyday work. So people started falling under this imposter syndrome and figuring out, oh, do I even worth enough, right? So how to fight it off? To me, I use it as an opposite thing. And usually when I have a feeling, oh, I'm not good enough here, I think that's a marker that I'm actually good at this. Because do you ever like I don't know what example I can make. Like, are you good at fishing?
I don't do fishing.
Yeah, so see, you don't do it. I mean, so you cannot say that you have imposter syndrome because you don't have any doubts
I
about it.
that
You're not
is
good at that.
that is such a good framework. Mostly you get imposter syndrome for something that you're actually good at. And
Yep.
you're like, I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. And this is very funny. This is going to be funny. I hope this is the funny part. When I was in school, whether it's high school or college, I would see all these amazing A graders, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, my exam went bad," and I was like, "Son of a gun, this guy's gonna get an A plus," and they would, because they would always downplay themselves that, "Oh, we didn't do that well." Because that's their imposter syndrome coming out. Oh, I missed a 10 mark
Hmm.
question or whatever. Yeah,
I can
I
tell
actually
you.
will try that. This is pretty good. This is pretty good
Yeah.
advice.
Thank you. I can tell you like why all of these great things happening, right? This is also something that they learn at MBA, and this is highly recommended to everyone who struggle within their career if they want to get some new knowledge or to have their mindset broader. It's also like something that helps a lot. So, why people would focus so much on marks, right? We should never consider ourselves as people who do something to get some certain mark. But we should always consider how much effort do we put in getting this mark. You know, you told me this example, right? Then that there were A graders, right? But how much effort do they put in this A plus? If this is something that they have done within like 20 minutes, some
Yeah,
paperwork, right? And they didn't put much effort, like should they be proud of that? Of course, that's good, but it's not something to show off about, right?
yeah.
Or to brag about. And the same like with other marks. I know, like, you know, for me, I run half marathons and I'm not like the
Oh,
fastest person ever. So I have a half marathon in 11 days.
wow.
So yeah, it's going to be very cold, but it's good. Like I'm preparing myself for that, and I can tell you that if I would post my time for this half marathon, so usually I complete it within 2 hours and 20 minutes,
Mhm.
and most people would consider this as like slow, but it's not actually slow because you put a lot of effort in it, and
Yeah,
you should always be comparing your results to your results in the past, right? And you should also consider your condition. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I gained 5 kilos and this, I'm more happy to run now, and still 220 is a good time.
yeah,
But I will tell you what would be the time when I finish it. But usually we should never be attached to some certain result. We should always estimate like how much effort we inputted. Of course, I know that everyone has their sales quota.
yeah,
You know, it all depends.
yeah. No, this is the most resonating advice, I would say. That hey, you feel you're not good at something. That means you're actually good at something. That's your mind signaling that you gotta do it better, and that's something good. And I do
Yeah.
like, but and I'm not gonna stretch it further, but I will tell you one thing is that even though when we put effort, Sasha, and the
Mhm.
result is not what we want, still hurts, right? Like you're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
going
yeah,
to the
sure,
gym
sure.
or you have some goals, but I think I like your mindset of what you're trying to say. It's like detach yourself from the result because that's in your not in your control.
Mhm.
What's in your control is your effort. So
Yep.
just grade yourself on that. On that note, thank you, Sasha, for joining us all the way from Serbia. It was great opportunity. I know, like it's making, you already have a work day and then you're tired. So I really appreciate this opportunity to discussing with you about your journey, women in tech. And this last piece was the so heavy one, the imposter syndrome part. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for great questions. I really enjoyed our conversation, and yeah, just thank you so much for doing that. I believe that there is a lot of takeaways that people can take from your podcast that can help them within their careers.
Thank you.